Good evening. Hey, it's Wilbert Cook again, the Hand Up Recovery Homes coming to you. We were really trying to book a great guest. Unfortunately, Senator Collins just returned from Japan and was a bit jet lagged, as well as different other dynamics in the office. They weren't able to get a staffer here, but they really tried, which was great, because sometimes you can't get people to even try to get staffers to you. They don't try to fit you in, but she was really gracious in trying to get us in, put forth the extra effort. When you just have to rest, you have to rest. And I know personally, she was dialoguing with the office, the community, Facebook, and everything while she was on vacation. Now that's an absolute marvelous state senator to have. I've known a few. The last one you could hardly get any info from throughout the tenure of over 8 years. And the previous good one was Senator Hendon, and he wasn't as acclimated to Facebook in the same way with the constituents. But he did have some activity with groups and things, and it was still growing before he retired. But this day and age, I have to commend her on her efforts to keep engaged with her constituents, whether it be phone, whether it be Facebook, and her concern to make sure that her people were getting out, continuing the community events, continuing to get to community events, continuing to engage the community on her behalf while she was out of town. And oftentimes you don't hear none of that. You just find out when they get back. They pick up where they left off or pick up after they rest. Well, she was picking up while she was on vacation. So I want to commend Senator Lakeisha Collins for her outstanding efforts to stay engaged with her constituents in the 5th Senatorial District while she was on vacation. Or what appeared to be a vacation to some of us, because she was in Japan and getting to see some great things. It may well have been a working vacation, because the state does have tourism bureau. They do travel to see other places and how they handle tourism to come back so we can implement better tourism. So knowing her, she did all three. She did some things to figure out how she could implement them here in the state of Illinois when she get back throughout her district. When it comes to tourism, she tried to relax and enjoy being in Japan. And then she definitely stayed engaged with the elections Tuesday across the country. She made some comments, and we dialogued a little bit on Facebook over that. She encouraged people to be like her. Stay engaged, stay involved, and work with your constituents to improve the involvement they have, from the youngest to the oldest, or from the oldest to the youngest, whichever way you want to look at it, and from every ethnic group, every community represented. So that's great. And now I want to move on to what's really affecting us now. They did cut off SNAP this weekend for over 42 million people across America. Over 2 million, I believe, 2 to 3 million, somewhere in there in the state of Illinois, and over 1 million, I believe, in the Chicagoland area and our near suburbs, if not including our suburbs. But I believe it's really our city has nearly 1 million people on SNAP benefits. So we feeling the crunch across the city. All the food pantries are already saw the increases, and tomorrow and the rest of the week should be that much more explosive, because at least last week they had the buffer actually having their checks, many of them, their monthly checks of SSI, SSA, retirement checks. Some of them fall on the first, some fall other parts of the month. And what I found out too is a lot of working poor are on SNAP benefits. So they may only get $100, $75, $120, They may not get the 400-500 that a single parent mom with 3-4 kids get, but that $100, $150, $75 puts a hole in their budget nevertheless. So I'm still calling on all of us to give a hand up. Don't give a hand out, but you may have to hand out something giving the hand up in this case, because people need food or people need the financial resources to get food. If they're responsible, trustworthy individuals, I would say, if you can, send them the money, Cash App them, Zelle them, give them a check, set up an account for them, X amount of dollars at Amazon Fresh Foods or at Walmart or at, there's various ways, nowadays we can set up parameters and people can go online and shop and go pick up Instacart. Because of fees, I recommend we don't necessarily do that, but some people, that's how they operate now. So, and if they don't mind paying the fees, I would say don't take the fees out of your giving. If you're going to help people, don't have them pay a charge on top of what you're giving. Like if you Cash App them and they need to immediately use the money. Well, I learned trying to help people, my niece while she was in school, that there's a slight penalty for withdrawing within, I think, 48 hours. Then you have to pay a $5, $7, whatever, a percentage fee. I don't know because it's been about 3 years, but those cases you would want to give that plus whatever they need plus the fee so that they don't end up short still on trying to get groceries, trying to pay a bill or what have you. So let's be real cognizant. This is a great time. And it's sad it hitting as we go into the holiday seasons. November 1st is the real kickoff into Thanksgiving and Christmas and the New Year season, the holiday season, the big three, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year all wrapped up in this next 2 months. And it's almost like a sprint to do all the things you can do for your family, for your children, for your friends, and then celebrate finally getting to the end of the year going in. And I don't want us to forget Kwanzaa. Those who aren't able to give now, maybe during the Kwanzaa season, those 6 days, you find ways to help families along. It's a cooperative piece anyway for Kwanzaa for African Americans and any others who choose to celebrate that spiritual holiday, is that you give a chance to have themes, and during those themes, find ways to be supportive, whether it's business, whether it's creating more unity, whether it's giving gifts, whether it's being creative or setting up an event, you can be creative. And while you're being creative, you're bringing them family and children together. Make sure to have a nice snack or a nice lunch or small, a dinner or some good hors d'oeuvres, some filling hors d'oeuvres along with the snack hors d'oeuvres. There are so many ways we can try to fit in some more giving at this time where our government is failing the people. And I'm not going to put it on the Republicans. I'm not going to put all this on 46, I believe it is, or 48, whichever one. But I'm not going to put all of it on him. The system failed people is how he got in. And I'm really serious. All the Democrats I love in Chicago, in Cook County, in Illinois, do you see what we coming up from 50 years later on the West Side? And none of you all can keep blaming that fire of 68 after King got killed. You need to get honest and talk about how much got destroyed in the 70s on the, quote, urban renewal plan, which was an urban removal plan. Let's remove the housing and repopulate it when we get good darn ready. And we need to own up to that. We need to own up that the county for many years didn't step in until recently. Matter of fact, oftentimes the city paid into the county treasury up till a few years ago. And oftentimes the funding of resources was all left to the city of Chicago. The county put all of the resources in the collar counties, the suburbs. And various projects did not get funded by the county in city limits, even though we all paid taxes to the county. And the latest set of commissioners over the last 8 years fought to change that, especially around several things: substance abuse, health care in general, mental health care, and violence reduction are the main 3 pillars of which county commissioners in the city went to fight to make sure that the county sent funds back into these city communities that were paying taxes all along. But all of the funding for those things primarily was left at the time up to the city of Chicago. We have benefited being able to help reduce some violence and try to help deal with some mental health illness because the Commissioner Dennis Deere helped fight to make sure that resources from the county were brought back into the 2nd district, the 1st district, in order that they could better serve the violence problem, the mental health issues, and the substance abuse issues in the Chicago's west side. And as they began to fight more for those, then we also had all the other communities that were part of different districts that covered the south side and even the north side. Even though oftentimes they had better resources, less crime, and less talked about, publicized media stories about their addiction problem, they had it all over the place. And they started to get more fundings to reach out in the old Cabrini Green area, in Rogers Park. One of the best kept middle class secrets is that along all the universities up along that Lakeshore Drive and Sheridan Road and all of that, there's a lot of substance abuse, homelessness, and other problems that they rarely talk about, but it's persistent throughout their community too. The good part is they have such great housing stock. They have a lot more affordable housing programs they set up. And we have vacant lots on the west side and in Inglewood, and we're working to change those things. And so we have other issues where we tend to get even more tent cities now as they run them out of their areas so that they could do more development and redevelopment and expand their dynamics to the middle class, upper middle class. Then when people have nowhere else to go, they go to the poor communities where they're more accepted. And the poor communities still are west side of Chicago, North Lawndale, Garfield, especially East Garfield, and parts of West Garfield as well as North Lawndale. Then when you go, Pilsen and Little Village had some areas, but now because of gentrification, they're fighting to keep their Mexican-American history. Same with Humboldt Park on the north end. They were embracing and trying to help their struggling community members, but now they're being pushed west because of the gentrification from the lakefront west and the redevelopment of Division Street, Halstead, and they're being literally priced out of what was considered, the little Puerto Rican American community up on the north sides between Damon and Kedzie primarily, or Cicero. Now they're getting all pushed towards Cicero and further west on the north end and out of Halsted Street, Western California even. They're pushing the Puerto Ricans further west because they're getting priced out. People are paying, renovating those homes, buying them for $300,000. Then when they finish renovating them, it's $300,000, $350,000, $400,000 per unit. What wasn't a $1,500 apartment is now a $400,000 condominium after it's been refurbished, redeveloped. So all of these dynamics are happening, but struggling poor people, then now what happens is we get people mad at the system, and then they decide not to vote, or they decide to change their vote from the Democrats that allowed all these gentrification things to happen, have allowed all this decay in other communities to be maintained throughout the last 50 years. Democrats, wake up, listen to the plan. Stop talking about poor people during the presidential campaign of Barack Obama and just talk about the middle class. But now you got millions of people who are not middle class, not even, especially not upper middle class, that are struggling, and you stop even talking about them in your campaigns. Go look at the record. Go look at it. I listen well. I pay attention. Go look at the record. We stopped talking about poor people. The only time we hinted at talking about poor people were when we talk about the Affordable Care Act, that initially we let the Republicans name Obamacare, which, if anything, it should have been Ted Kennedy care. Let's be honest. President Barack Obama used up a lot of political stock to put through a health bill that had been lingering, that Ted Kennedy had been trying to help get a national health plan set up for his last 25 years at least of his senatorial run. And then he was sick unto death, and when Barack went into the presidency and folks said they wanted to try to get this bill passed. It was so atrocious how the Republicans had blocked it over the years. In the end, it almost got partially funded under the Clinton administration, but Hillary was the one. Hillary Clinton, the president's wife, was the one trying to carry it across the finish line. They so disliked Clinton and really was offended, sad to say, this woman, the president's wife, was trying to carry this bill across the finish line. And they ended up not allowing it to happen. They ended up pushing back, and we did not get a health care bill passed at that time. And then we didn't seriously get a chance to pass it again until Barack Obama's presidency. So there's a lot of history of what they did to get the health care bill passed. And Joe Biden, in all understanding, if we had not started to remind everyone benefiting from Obamacare, the middle-class Americans and the farmlands in rural areas of New Hampshire and rural areas of Utah, if we had not reminded them, the real name of it was the Affordable Care Act, ACA, Affordable Care Act, and that they had benefited, where many of their friends before the Affordable Care Act was in bankruptcy because of medical bills, they were not in bankruptcy because the Affordable Care Act had paid for their loved ones to have all these medical treatments, all of these surgeries. Matter of fact, many of them may have lost these loved ones. Literally, they were in a dying condition. And the Affordable Care Act, since it was passed under Obama in his first term, was able to save many people all the way up through Trump's first term. And then it allowed a clarion call of common sense by then to be branded for what it really was, to it's palatable to everyone in America as Affordable Care Act. So now, those of us who loved Obamacare, it did not go anywhere. The real name of the legislation has been put on that in order that folks stop voting against the person it was named after and start realizing the actual great good it does. So now the Republicans couldn't repeal some of it because people start to love the benefits of the health care program. So then now what they are doing is they have changed laws now that the premiums is going to go sky high, and half the people that's been helped is poor, middle class, upper middle class that still can't afford this extreme cost of health care are now in peril, in trouble, are going to lose benefits, or they're going to pay and struggle with other bills and taking care of themselves from day to day and take care of their family members, children, or grandchildren. So it is really important that we work to change something, but more important, back to what we were talking about before I went on these tangents about how bad some conditions are that help lead to this situation in America, in the White House, where the rich are really running amok and taking advantage of the poor and leaving them to die. in the streets of America and the farmlands and rural areas, because they're going to die everywhere because of these changes. And it's already happening, and it's sad to say. But we can save those that are in our food deserts, in our food insecure areas. We can help save a lot of them long enough for the cavalry to arrive. But we have to give. We have to take food to people that need it. We need to take it to especially women with children, men taking care of families with children, and to the seniors and others on fixed income that are struggling. So we need to get food to them. In cases where we know they're responsible, if they have substance abuse issues, we need to give them the food. If they are irresponsible, have gambling problems, we need to give them the food and refer them to help for the problem that's further exacerbating or making worse the family dynamic and lack of care and responsibility issues they have. And if they are mentally ill, we may literally have to go get the kids sometime and feed them. Or we need to go get them and the kids and help them not feel the pressure of having to cook and clean and all that. We'll do that cooking, cleaning for them and just bring them over so that the mother or the father that may be succumbing to the pressures of take care of their family. So it's a lot to do. We need to have discussions. Churches, open them places up. One night a week for people in the community to come. Give them some soup and crackers. Give them some snacks and let them be able to talk. Get any counselors or school teachers or other college students that's willing to help counsel, talk to and or tutor the kids and or the adults. Give a night, a community night. We need to establish that. Every church, every community organization, whether you fund it or not, you paying the bills with federal or state money or city, county money. You need to open up that facility one evening for these families and give back to them, which you've been blessed for with your jobs through your grants and through other initiatives and other programs and other funders and United Way and all of them have helped fund you. You need to give back to these communities you're being funded to help. And open up them doors one night, one evening for them, one Saturday to help these families cope with this tragic time we're in. It is real important we do the extra. Give 10% more of your time to helping people right now. Give 5%, give 2%, give 10% of your treasure. Give 5% of your treasure, give 2% of your treasure. Give some extra to a worthy cause that's helping feed families or helping provide shelter for family, helping do youth services for families. And then also your talent. Give 10% more of your talent. Take time and give 10% of your talent to some group that can use it. Some group that can use 5%. Carve out. What's 5% of your time worth? And using your talent, and take the talent and say, I can give you X hours to help you with accounting, to help teach some kids or some adults, to help do a creative art class. Let's take tangible opportunities to help give hands up, you all. Help people recover from this disastrous government we have around us now. And it's a shame the city is so insolvent. Some of what it would want to do, it can't do without going into further debt. So they being boxed in by their financial situation. And let's be honest, part of the Johnson administration is the truth. It is what historically we let go by with hardly a discussion daily. Unfortunately, he did a lot of great things, but he sold away the Skyway for a little or nothing. He sold away the meters for a little nothing. Those are billion-dollar assets he gave away on long-term leases for a little bit of nothing, and had the city had those revenue-generated pieces right now, Mayor Brandon Johnson's budget wouldn't have $1 billion hole in it. It probably would even be able to cover it. We would have to give another quarter, 20 cents to tolls and another 50 cents a meters. But one, it'd be less than what we paying the private owners now. And two, it would all be spent back in the economy of Chicago. Instead, those businesses are profiting and living well and building family wealth and generational wealth for everybody outside of Chicago primarily, except maybe a handful of officials within Chicagoland area. That for another day, another time. Thank you. It's been great to talk to you, but give 10% of your time, your treasure, and your talent to help the people that's struggling out there, because SNAP benefits was cut off in other programs. Thank you. Peace out. Blessings.